Think I'm live. Hope so. Looks like it's working. I don't know. Should be. You guys will have to get over the noise in the background. My dog is currently eating and drinking, so I apologize for that. But we'll try to wait for some people to show up in the chat here. I see a couple are here. And once again, I apologize for my dog in the background eating and drinking. So I don't know if you can see her back there, but there she is, eating and drinking away. So it's been a while since we've done a tractor talk, probably since, I don't know, April or so. Hey, Connor's here, This Old Farm. I think he's working on his latest video too. So once you guys are done here, maybe head on over to his channel and see if he's got that uploaded. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me? I hope so. Hope you guys can hear me. There's nothing that really shows. Oh, here we go. Right at the bottom, there's this little microphone deal, but it shows kind of the audio that's coming out of me, the volume that I have. So, all right, everybody says they can hear me. Bibsters, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Chris, how you doing? Glad everybody's showing up. This is hopefully going to be a good chat and reminisce about tractors and whatever's on your guys' mind, whatever questions you have for me. And Hyatt, what's going on, bud? Good to see you. Craig, good to see you. Patch of Heaven Farms is here. Good to see you. I'm sitting next to my heater too. I got a little tower heater next to me. I keep my house pretty, I don't know, I don't want to say chilly, but I set the heat at 68, so the basement stays probably at about 60, 62. But it has been a while. It's been, I think the last tractor talk I did, I think was in April maybe. Because I don't think we did one in May. That was when I went to Colorado, so that was a busy month. Any timeline on the H getting finished? Well, Damian just finished, or Domino, that's his nickname. That's usually what I refer to him as on YouTube here when I'm making videos with him. But Domino is, the sheetrock is done in his shop. The upstairs was just insulated. So right now he's waiting on the furnace to be installed, which probably won't happen until after Christmas. And then, you know, whatever little odds and ends he needs finished up, I'll try to help him with. But, you know, my schedule's crazy, working my primary job and then helping Rudy because he needs the help and I need the money, and you know, doing the best I can to be a good dad and all of that. And I've got some other things going on that I'm just not putting out on YouTube or social media. You know, it's just some personal stuff. But hopefully we'll have the tin work painted before spring. You know, I'd really like to get a good picture of it, you know, with a fresh red paint on a nice white snowy background. I really think that would make it nice. Let's see, I just want to catch up here. Bibster pulled the bell pulley and hydraulic pump, and he's getting ready to pull the hydraulic pump. Be careful, it's heavy. So Tony's here. You guys remember my buddy, my tractor buddy, little Tony? Not so little anymore. He's all grown up. Ron, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Dog herder, good to see you. How much snow do we have? Zero. We had more snow in October than we've had November and December combined. We have zero snow here right now. But there's a winter storm that starts tomorrow, so hopefully we get some snow. We have a white Christmas. I mean, it's been a very odd winter. Yesterday and the day before, we got rain, and getting rain the week of Christmas is like crazy unheard of. But it kind of sucks. It's gloomy here and very overcast. Everything is dead and brown. So, and it's cold. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, 15 degrees tonight. So, Nick, how you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. I think the last time I saw you was, I don't know, did we see each other at Rolog? I feel like we saw each other at Rolog last year, but for sure, you and I ran into each other at Andover for the 150 unveiling. But Chris has two M's to do. Well, get on it. Let's see. Mike's dealing with some cold weather down in Florida. I just saw that on the Yahoo homepage that you guys were expecting some cold weather, but cold, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty warm today too. Wasn't bad. Am I decorating any tractors with Christmas lights? No. Well, the only tractors we have left is the Case SC, the H, and the M. So the Case and the H are both parked in the garage, and then the M I can't decorate because I got to leave that ready for work in case we get a big snow and I got to plow out with the loader. Ron got 30 inches last Thursday. Yeah, man, I wish we got the snow you guys are getting out east. I can't believe some of the areas, like in New York, I think I heard got 44 inches. So I know that Oswego County or Oswego, however you pronounce it, in New York, they're known as the snowiest place east of the Rockies because they get all that lake effect stuff. I did a study on lake effect snow back in college, so I know quite a bit about it. That's true, Brent. That's true. Yeah, Craig, I know you got a lineup to get after there. I everybody always kind of asked me, "Oh man, it must have killed you to sell those tractors," and really it didn't. It was the most it was the easiest decision I ever made, because I did it for my family. We've been going through some tough stuff the last 6 months, and there's millions of tractors out there. So when the time's right, I can always get another one. The one that I really do miss is the 1928 John Deere D. But like I said, there's millions of them out there, millions of tractors. So when the time's right and the money's right and everything meshes together just perfectly, we'll work on it then. So, do I have any plans on building a shop for the tractor someday? Absolutely. It's always been a goal of mine to have a shop, but family's first. So no matter what happens, it's always about family. So yeah, tell me about it. I put new front tires on the M this last summer because I knew, well, one of them blew out, but I figured we were going to have a big winter, and who knows? We still got, 4 months left of winter, so a lot of time to get a lot of snow yet. But Yeah, lake effect snow is funny like that, Craig. You know that it can give them really thin bands, and you know one area will have nothing on the ground, and then you go 10 miles away and there's 3 feet. So Alan wants to know why people put liquid in tractor tires. They do that for ballast, for weight. So especially in the rear, they use most of the time, like in the northern climates, they use calcium chloride, which is very, very corrosive, and it really burns when you get it in your mouth. So don't get it in your mouth if you ever come in contact with it. Don't ask me how I know, but yeah, they use it for ballast. That's the main reason. Did I ever get the timing fixed on the H? Okay. I'm going to ask everybody to slow down just for a second while I address this issue. Magnetos, I just got into this conversation on Facebook today. Magnetos do not care which, okay, so if there's 4 posts, one for each spark plug, right? Magnetos do not care how you bolt them on a tractor. You could literally bolt a magneto onto a 4-cylinder tractor and run your plug wires. You have a 1 in 4 shot of getting it right the first time. So Rudy has always been such a great teacher with me. And the number one thing that he says when people put magnetos on tractors is they look at the cap, the distributor cap, and there's always a little number 1 that's written above one of the terminals. Don't worry about that number 1. They should never put it on there in the first place, because as long as your rotor is pointing to a stud and you take that terminal and wire it to whichever cylinder is ready to fire, whichever one's on top dead center of compression, that's your starting point. And then from there, you got to know the rotation of your rotor. So like on the H, I know it's a clockwise rotation if I'm looking at it. So let's say I start at the bottom right terminal. Well, I know that's 1 now. So then we go 3, 4, and 2. That's all you got to know for putting a magneto on a tractor. It really doesn't matter which terminal is your number 1. As long as you have a starting point and you follow your firing order from there, it doesn't matter. So now that we got that cleared up, no, I haven't done anything with the timing on the H because there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the spark plug wires they don't start at the number 1 marked post. They just start at a different post, and it works just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So do I plan on getting identicals to what I had? Or am I going to get different models and brands from the same decades? I don't know. Like I said, I'd like to get a pre-1930 John Deere D, and right now I'm kind of looking long-term, like my life goals, and I've always wanted a steam engine or a large prairie tractor, so whichever I can come up with, that would be great. But I'll tell you, steam engines and large prairie tractors from the turn of the century are big time money. And one thing about steam is as soon as you light that fire, that engine owns you until the fire is out and the pressure is 0. So you can never walk away from a steam engine. That's one advantage to, kerosene or gasoline engines. Was I doing shots at a college party with calcium chloride? No. Um, I had a tractor. I used to have a 1950 Farmall C, and we kept it at our cabin, and we went home for 2 weeks and then came back to the cabin. Well, I didn't know there was calcium in the rear tires. And we came back, and one of the rear tires was flat, and there was liquid all over the wall, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was maybe rain, maybe the roof was leaking. So I touched my finger to the liquid and then touched it to my tongue, which is probably the dumbest thing I could have done. But man, does it burn. I'll tell you, I could not find a hose fast enough. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch up on the comments here. Oh yeah, doing the timing this way would get Squatch's eyes twitching, but It's the truth. You don't have to worry about where the number one is, as long as you have a starting point and you follow your firing order. You're fine. So, what's a good book to get to learn about all the farmalls? Oh man, there's a book. I think it's called Farmall Letter Series Tractors. I want to say that is probably the best book. It's by Guy Fay, who's like a guru in the tractor book community. He's quite the author, and I will even include a link to an Amazon page that you can go to. But check it out. I just put it in the comments section. But hey, what's up, bud? Minnesota Oliver and Deer's here. Been a while since I talked to you. Kind of lacking on catching up on my YouTube videos. I pretty much watch Squatch's videos when I get a chance, and then I'm just so busy that I haven't really had time to watch anybody else's. So, between working two jobs and trying to be the best dad that I can be, and it's life is busy. Brian McLean, welcome, welcome. Crazy Dave, welcome. Am I still going to get that other H? I just asked my friend about it the other day, and he had to double check with his dad if it's still there. Story goes, my buddy's dad owns a construction company, and on the side, he buys and fixes and flips houses. And this house that he bought is um, had the tractor sitting in the backwoods, and he asked me if I wanted it. But I asked my buddy about it just the other day, and he said he's not even sure if it's still sitting there. So we'll see. I haven't heard from him, but his dad is currently battling COVID, so um, we'll see. I mean that H is in rough shape, really rough shape. I'm just trying to get caught up on the comments here. Jason, welcome, welcome. Jeff is restoring a 56 300 utility. I grew up near a guy that restored a 300 utility with a front loader and a backhoe. And that guy did the entire thing, front to back, and what a job. I mean, it took him all summer, but he got it done. I did get all the brush cut up and burnt that I had cut this year, but there's always going to be more. So, well, working on a farm and running farm equipment, that's fun stuff, man. Is the H that I was told I could have seized? Oh yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have a manifold on it, so the intake and exhaust ports are wide open to the elements. It's missing the hood. It's missing a front wheel. It's got a tree that's probably 14, 16-inch diameter grown up through the hitch, so it's been sitting there a while. I don't think I can insert a photo here, but yeah, it's stuck and it's in really rough shape. I've never been to Farmall Land, but you know, when we came back from Colorado, we drove right through Avoca, Iowa, and I felt like we should stop, but we had a long drive, 14, 16-hour drive, so there was no way that my wife was going to let me stop and look at tractors. So unfortunately, I never made it there, but yeah, those W4s are pretty cool little tractors. I never had a Wheatland tractor other than the John Deere D, but Should you put the brake pedal shaft in first and the seals over top, or put the seals in first? I would probably put the seals in first. That's the way I did it, and it worked out just fine. Don't forget, if you're going to double up your seals on that, make sure you put a very liberal amount of grease inside between those two seals, because if you don't, that outer seal is going to run dry and it's just going to wear out immediately. So it's really going to be junk if you don't put a ton of grease in there. Hey Ryan, what's up? How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in quite a while, but a lot of that's because I haven't been making as many videos. So the H might be a fun candidate for a repower. I would like to just get it running just to bring something back that was so far gone. I think that'd be really cool. I mean, even the transmission, the shift lever doesn't even move on it, so it's it's rough. Oh, Craig, good to know. Good to know. Got an extra H engine and a front end if I need anything. Yeah, that's good to know. Hey, thanks, Justin. I appreciate that, man. I'm just getting caught up on the comments here. They're really firing off. So hopefully that H really brings a smile to everybody's face. That thing, I mean, I look at it all the time and think just how great it's going to look with the tin work done. But happy early birthday, bud. Minnesota Oliver and Deer, everybody. Wish him a happy early birthday. Tomorrow's his birthday. Well, Mike, that ATF and acetone, it doesn't work on everything. It's a really good penetrant and lubricant, but it doesn't work on everything. And I would always pull the cylinder head off of a tractor that's stuck, any engine, because if you try to crank that thing and you got stuck valves or something else is stuck, you're going to bend push rods, you're going to bend your rocker arm, something's going to give, and it's not going to be good. Yeah, Mike, I definitely want to check out Florida Flywheels, or the Florida Flywheelers, I should say. PHW Kent is working on redoing an H trans. He's replacing all the gear sets and pinion from another H. To get backlash close, would I recommend using the shims from the donor or the H? Whichever, let's see, whichever gears you took the, whichever case you took the gears out of, I would use the shims that were on the gears you're using, because those are already set up with that ring and pinion to run exactly where they're at. So I would use the shims and the gears together. I wouldn't separate them and go from one case with the gears to another case with the shims. From that case, I would use the shims and the gears and the shafts all as one unit. And make sure, if you're going to do the ring and pinion, if you're going to use one out of one, make sure you use both out of one, because they're wore together already. So Robert, Merry Christmas. Appreciate that, bud. I do hope next year is a lot better than this year. It's been a bad year. Justin's restored an H for FFA right now, and they're going to be sandblasting tomorrow. Did you sandblast as a unit, or did you tear everything apart and sandblast everything individually, like all the castings and everything? Good to know, Craig. Sounds like you got a stockpile of extra stuff. If I get that H, it might come in handy. We'll see. I don't think I've ever seen anyone. Actually, I don't know if it was a Chevy power steering pump for Charlene, but I've seen automotive pumps used for power steering units, but I can't tell you if they were paired with a Charlene unit or whatever. I don't know. Balin, I don't know. But I have seen automotive pumps. So yeah, Mike, the M, that thing was rusted really bad, but one of the pistons I was unable to get out. I actually pushed it and the cylinder liner out as a unit because they were so rusted and stuck together. Any idea what tractor you might see at plow day? Hopefully the H. I mean, if it's done, the H would be a great one to have there, but get it broke in. But I probably shouldn't tell you guys this, but I've got a Super H carb coming for it. So I'm going to rebuild that, and then I'll take the H carburetor off and put the Super H carburetor on it. So that probably give us a couple more horsepower. Plus, it'll probably run a little bit better since it's got the overbore kit in it. FDH, what's going on? Merry Christmas, bud. Sorry, I'm just catching up in the chat. This might be the most people that we've had actually watching. We got 40 people watching right now. Pretty cool. Man, wait till you guys see the Case SC video that I'm going to put together. You like farmer mods, you're going to love what my grandpa did to this Case SC before I restored it. You're going to cringe, but you're going to be like, "Man, he really kept that thing going no matter what." Main chassis is together, but all the little parts are taken off and sandblasted. Okay, make double, triple sure that you tape off any orifices. If there's any seals or breather holes, make sure you tape those areas off because you will get sand inside there and you'll never get it out. Larry, we got to see video of that Minneapolis, man. I don't know if you make a whole lot of videos or anything, but 1924 Minneapolis 1730, that's probably about the same tractor that my uncle's grandfather had. My aunt's husband's grandfather. I was just looking at those pictures today, and they had an unstyled B. They had a Farmall H on steel. They had a early Minneapolis on steel, and then they had three steam engines: a Case 80 horse, a Minneapolis. I don't know what horsepower it was, and then they had an Avery undermount. So, man, I wish we had some of those. And then on my mom's side, um, some of my family, there was an International Titan, like a 1020 Titan. There was some steam engines on that side too. I just don't know what manufacturer they were. They were kind of different than what I'm used to seeing, so I'm not sure what they were. But Super H carb uses the same castings as an M, but they have a smaller venturi than an M, and they have a some of the jets are a little bit different, but it's a little bit better designed than the regular H carb. So plus it'll fit the manifold better. Any new manifold is going to have the intake manifold or the carburetor to intake bolt holes slotted, so you can fit the H carburetor on there, but it doesn't fit the best. But if you put a Super H or a 300 or an M carburetor on there, it really bolts up perfectly. So, oh man, dog herder, trust me, when you see what I'm talking about on this Case SC, you'll understand why it isn't that way anymore. Jeff wants to know if he's the youngest guy here. No, no, you're not. He's 38. I'm 34. Um, Connor from This Old Farm, I think he's 17. Ben is 18, I think. Mike is like 20. Sorry, I'm just catching up here. Camden is 13. He just bought an Oliver 77 to use on the farm for square baling and firewood pulling. That should work pretty good. Love to see pictures of the steam tractors. I will show you the pictures in my next video. How's that sound? I'll try to put them in there. They're black and white, but man, I got some cool pictures, man. I've got pictures. So my my uncle's father, so my aunt's husband's father, he they used to own a sawmill down near Montgomery, Minnesota, and they've got pictures of their trucks loaded so heavy. I mean, they're literally, the front wheels are 5 feet in the air on these big old, GMC 2 tons or ton and a halves. It's cool stuff, man. I didn't get any pictures of those trucks loaded like that, but I got some cool pictures of the sawmill and the tractors and the steam tractors. So in my next video, I'll bring those up. Farmall age 27, how you doing? Sorry, I'm still getting caught up. You guys are just firing away. Oddest thing I found rebuilding for Rudy. Oh, well, just the other day, I did a carburetor that looked off like it came off the deck of the Titanic. But I don't really find a whole lot of odd things because I do a lot of the simpler stuff, international mags, Wyco mags, Fairbanks mags. They're all pretty easy. But Rudy does a lot of the really odd and rare stuff. And I'm sure he's seen all kinds of stuff. Most of the stuff I see is when people take an international H4 mag and then they convert it to run with an external coil so it's got battery power. I mean, you see that all the time. So yeah, I know, Hyatt. There's a lot of young folks here. It's great. I'm glad. I'm happy to see it. If you guys don't mind, but I'm gonna kick back. I got the laptop, so I might as well. I'm just trying to read as fast as I can. Hey, Chris, thanks, man. Merry Christmas to you too. Appreciate that. Larry, you got your own museum? What? How come you didn't tell us sooner? Is it a private museum? I mean, is it something that you offer out to people doing tours or anything? I'm just getting caught up. Yeah, Dave, you know what I'm talking about with the automotive coil and everything on the H4. I mean, it'll work, but I don't even know what a coil costs, like an automotive coil for like a distributor setup. But a coil for a mag, like for an H4, I don't think is more than 40 or $50. Hey, dog herder, they got time to do that too. This is just an hour or so. They got heck, it's only Tuesday. I'm just reading here. Sorry if it seems like I'm not saying nothing. I'm just reading everything. So yeah, all you young bucks, you like them new gen tractors. You're the reason that our prices are diving on the letter series. No, I'm just kidding, but it ebbs and flows just like the stock market. So it'll run just about any plug. Or are you talking about fuel or oil fouling? I mean, if it's fuel, you're running too rich. If it's oil, then we got some work to do somewhere else. But I mean, to be honest, I've never had a tractor die or lose cylinders on me from fouling plugs. Just never had it happen. No, I've never been to Farmall Land. We were just talking about that. But there is another Farmall museum in Florida. Um, Stu Paquette's, I believe. You can actually check it out on YouTube. It's a nice place. If it's still there, I don't know. I bet you I bet you Mike knows about it. Mike, is that Stu Paquette's Farmall Museum still down there? Paquette's is still there. All right. Yeah, Ryan, we'll definitely check out your channel. Everybody go check out, not right now because you're watching my stuff, but after this, you can go check out Ryan's channel and see what he's got going on. Yeah, Justin, that's one of the things I always hated about John Deere's were the splined axles. I think that was probably the biggest mistake that they made because it makes those wheels impossible to move. Once there's a little bit of rust or some irregularity, yeah, you're probably right, Doc Herder. It's probably an oil ring or something. Those SCs though, they are very notorious for rusting out the back of the number four cylinder where the O ring is at the bottom because they're wet sleeve. They're notorious for rusting that area out, and then they leak down coolant into the oil. That's great, Craig. I'm glad my M videos are helping, or at the very least, they're showing you what not to do. The John Deere Museum in Waterloo is really cool. Really cool. I like it because they got a mixture of, fully restored Cherry museum quality tractors, and then they got straight original barn finds that are just, I mean, beautiful. And I'm starting to get into that stuff. I mean, I can appreciate all the work and everything that goes into a beautiful paint job, but man, if you find something with original decals, never been touched, just leave it because you'll never have that again. It's only going to be like that once. Okay, now I'm really behind. I always wanted an Oliver Hart Par 70. I thought they were just really cool looking tractors. Ryan, he says he's a little less family friendly at times. I try not to swear. Trust me, I swear a lot, way a lot more than I should. Not proud of it, but hey, it is what it is. But I try not to swear in my videos because I know there's so many different age groups, and you know, I don't want to offend anybody. And this has been such a great thing. You know, we don't make any money doing this hardly. I mean, I'm lucky at the point I am now. I'm lucky if I get $100 check once every 2 months, maybe. But and they don't even send you a check until after your account hits $100. But that's besides the point. I don't want this to be ruined because I hurt somebody's feelings or did something that I could have prevented. So okay, now I got to catch up again. No coolant in the oil on the SC. That's good. Mine had a bunch in it. Hey, Jason, I worked for John Deere. I bet none of you guys know that. I've probably never told you, but I used to work for John Deere. Larry, do you have a Waterloo Boy tractor? I have a friend that has one, but I've never taken video of it, I don't think. I've only seen a portion of his collection. He's got so many tractors. I couldn't even hundreds of tractors and engines. I mean, buildings full, huge buildings full. Hunting and stuff. What's going on, bud? Sorry, I'm just catching up. I get off on a tangent and I don't stop talking. Craig, why don't you pick up that Hard Par 70 and I'll pay you in 5 to 10 years? I don't know when I'll I don't know when I'll buy another tractor. I don't really care when I'll buy another one. It's nice to have the projects, but next what I really like to do. See, there's a great example. Farmall age 27. His grandson's 4 years old and loves to watch our channel. That's exactly why you got to just keep it good. You know, I worked at the John Deere hydraulic cylinder assembly division in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, for 3 days. um, didn't go well. Not that I messed up, but I'm just getting caught up. I don't even think that division is there anymore. But yeah, it was John Deere Cylinder Assembly Division in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. You're a test engineer at the engineering center, and you haven't helped us with our projects. Where have you been? I'm still getting caught up. I've heard of the Keystone Tractor Museum. I've heard it's a great place. There's another one that I think they just finished building somewhere. I can't remember where. Luke, what's up? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you had that ODS 6. Man, that's a rare piece of equipment. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hey Kent, that's not a bad problem to have. My daughter, I I've every chance I get to go grocery shopping, I'll get her a doll or something, just something. And she still prefers to play with my model tractors 9 out of 10 times over those dolls. So I must be doing something right. What happened at John Deere? I did not like it because the foreman in the factory, I asked them for help in setting machines up because I had never run a CNC machine, and that's what they hired me to do. So I was trying to ask the two people I was working next to, but neither one of them really spoke very good English, so they couldn't really tell me. They just would punch in the numbers and tell me to start putting the pieces in to be machined. And I kept asking and asking and asking, and they would just blow me off. So I was like, well, if you don't want to teach me, I can't learn the job. So this isn't going to work. It sucked, but the only reason I went to the hospital was because of my high fever. And you do that with anything. If you've got a high fever, you always go to the hospital because it's dangerous. It can really mess with your brain and kill you. So that's the only reason I went to the hospital. But I mean, it took me 2 weeks to get through the actual COVID, I think, and then just the after effects of being so tired and so stuck on the couch for 14 days. It just took me a while to get that energy back to being able to do things. But I didn't get my taste back until right before Thanksgiving. So, yeah, Chris, the only problem with the old Threshers reunion is it's the same weekend as the same weekend as Rolog. So that's a tough call. I mean, I know Mount Pleasant is a big deal, but man, you guys are flying. I'm like, as soon as I read one, it's just another one goes by. Brent's going to build an HTA. That's cool. I've seen a few of them. Obviously, like you said, they never built any. They did test a TA and an H, but after it was done testing, they dismantled it and discarded it. So, because by the time they finished the testing, it was time to roll out the 300 line. I'm sorry if I missed somebody's question. I'm trying to keep up. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I only fell the one time on the snowboard, but still feeling it on the old butt cheek. See you later, bud. Thanks for stopping in. Everybody say bye to Apache Heaven Farms. And if you haven't checked out his channel, make sure you check his out too, along with Ryan's. I'm not as good at snowboarding as I used to be. I used to be into hitting all the jumps, and I mean, we used to do some major stuff, but it's just, you can't break your leg now because then you're out of work. So Yeah, Justin, why not? Bring the H2O log. Am I getting close to making progress on the H? We talked about that a little earlier, but right now we're just waiting. Damian or Domino is what we call him on YouTube. He just finished sheetrocking the bottom half of the shop. The top is insulated, the bottom's insulated, and right now he's waiting to get his furnace installed, which won't happen till after Christmas and New Year's. So we need to get we need to get heat before we can make any progress with paint on the H. So yeah, I know, John Deere. I know. You guys can go ahead and say your words. You broke your snowboard in half. Okay, that's I've never seen that. I'm sure it's happened, but are there any parts we need for the Memorial H project? Um, I don't think so. The only thing that we could do is we could put a rear light on it because I don't have a rear light for it. But I don't think there's anything really that we need. Yep, I'm hoping we can get the tins and everything painted before spring. We'll see. But if it doesn't happen till spring, then great because the weather will be perfect for painting then, and we won't have to worry about heat. But once we get the body work done, the hood needs a little attention. It's got a few small rust holes in it, and the grill just needs body filler on some of the small dings. But other than that, it's ready for primer and paint. So once you get all that stuff smoothed out, that's the toughest part. If you don't have your tin work smooth, once you paint it, that's it. You're going to see every blemish and every dent and every dimple. So body work is key. Prep work is key. Larry wants to know, besides the pre-30D and a steam engine or prairie tractor, what would be a bucket list tractor? Um, when it comes to steam, I would probably choose a Case. Case would be my number one. I think they built the best steamers. I mean, they built the most out of anybody, and I think they built the best. And Corey Anderson's 150. I mean, if you guys haven't seen that other than in videos, if you haven't seen it in person, it's worth the trip to Andover the day or the weekend after Labor Day. You guys got to check that thing out, man. It is. If you don't love steam, you will after seeing that sucker. But the Minneapolis, I think I just take pride in because I live in Minnesota, and to have a Minneapolis engine would be cool to me. But bucket list tractor, the Harpar, Oliver Harpar 70, I really like those. Yeah, I can imagine if you broke your snowboard and landed in the middle on a rail, that would, yeah, not be good. Hey Joe, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm very glad to hear that you like the channel. You know, I don't do it, obviously we're not getting rich, we're not viral, so I don't do it for money. I do it for this very reason. I like hanging out with you guys and, you know, helping out. And at the very least, you see what not to do. What paint brand or grade did I use on the Memorial H? I used PPG. It's a really good paint. It's the Omni or MTK urethane. It's kind of their baseline as far as automotive paint goes, but it is very durable and it covers really well. So that's the same paint I used on the case, and we had really good luck with it, and it still looks great. You know, that case, we finished that in 2008, and it still looks great. So I'm just getting caught up. Chris, you got to see the 150, man. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Same with you, Hyatt. It's worth the trip. Did the Andersons catch fire in Fargo within the last month? I don't think so, because Corey, unless it was maybe his dad, but Corey, he's been in Texas and stuff. He's got another home in Texas that he spends the winter at, I think, but I don't think so. But there's a couple of steam shops up there. Jim Bryden, I think he's up there. Larson Welding, you know, they do a ton of steam engine stuff. I sure hope they didn't catch on fire. John Deere 2-cylinder diesel? Nah, I got a friend that's got one. I can drive one whenever I want. If it comes to a bucket list tractor, I'd much rather have a John Deere, an early like a Spoker D. Oh man, that's like my number one John Deere if I could have one. Even though Spoker Ds are less common than a Spoker D, or nickel hole Ds, I'm sorry, are less common than a Spoker D. I'm trying to balance life, man. I am trying. And I know I haven't been around much the last 6 months, but it's been rough. That's all I'm gonna say. It's been rough. What kind of Alice did my grandfather have? Are you asking me? My grandfather didn't have an Alice. Chris, glad that video helped on your bolster rebuild. They're kind of tricky, but you know, as long as you take your time, it's worth it because and when it's done, it steers like a Cadillac. It's amazing. I mean, when I was that first drive I took with the H, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never felt a tractor this tight in my life. But I've always driven worn out, tractors. What brand do I like the most? I guess that depends on the reason behind it. Like for sound, it's got to be John Deere. I think you can't you can't replicate that sound. You know, it's just a really cool sound. But when it comes to looks, probably Farmall letter series, I think. But I like John Deere letter series too. But I think Farmall looks a little bit nicer, and their operators platform is better. I think the Farmall versus John Deere. If you've ever tried to run a loader on a hand clutch, it's not easy, and you're working brakes and all that, and it's tricky. Yeah, I think a regular would be a good tractor to have. That's what I wanted instead of my F20. But what's my favorite letter series letter or tractor? It's got to be the M. It's a big dog. Yeah, that was a big problem with those Spoker Ds. That's why they went away with the cracked or the spoked flywheels because they would crack and fly apart and kill people. Nickel holes too. They had a big problem cracking. That's why they went to the larger holes because the nickel holes would crack. I think I think Detweilers. I'm pretty sure they have new cast flywheels, spoked flywheels. Yeah, dog herder. I know them. Those hand clutches and loaders, they can. You almost need a third arm, because you're steering, grabbing throttle, working the hydraulics, working the clutch. It's a lot. Chincha, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Hopefully, we can get it done in short order here. But like I said, right now it's just we're either waiting for heat or weather. So yeah, regulars are. I mean, about all they're good for is pulling a plow or a wagon and running stuff on belts, but nothing. I mean, nothing really. Nobody uses belts anymore unless it's for show or unless it's a guy that lives in the woods and has his own, buzz saw on the front. Yeah, I don't know, man. I wish I could like show you guys. Maybe I'll see if I can take a picture on my phone and then hold it up to the screen. How many hours do I work for Rudy in a week? Um, well, usually when I work for him, I work at my other job from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then when I work for Rudy, I drive straight to his place at 7 a.m. And then I'll work till maybe noon. So I don't know. I'll do that 2 to 3 days a week. So maybe 15 hours a week. But is mag repair and restoration a good business? For him, it is. Yeah, he's very, very busy. I mean, he's got a room full of magnetos waiting. Um, but it's a very niche business. There's only if there was a shop on every corner that did it, then there wouldn't be no money in it because there ain't enough people that get magnetos repaired that often. But for the small amount of shops there are, it keeps him and the other shops plenty busy. He's actually mentioned, when he decides to get out of it, he asked if I would be interested. And to be quite honest, I don't have the capital or the space to do it. Yeah, the Amish do belt work. That's true. Craig picked up a Model D. That's a hard to find tractor. There's not many standard treads out there for D's or S's. All right, Ryan. Take care. And oh, 49 GMC's here. Shoot, I didn't even see him. He must have just been silently hiding in the background. Merry Christmas, bud. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, GMC, for stopping by. Appreciate it. Oh man, I got something in my nose. I always like the unstyled G's, but um, pound for pound, the A is almost as good as tractor as a G. The G didn't really have that much horsepower compared to the A. When you look at power to weight, you have a Wyco C mag and it sparks every time. Do you know what's going on? Nope. um, I'm just trying to think. I wonder if you have some carbon tracking or something built up in the cap so that when your rotor strikes that first terminal, it's that spark is traveling through that carbon tracking, and that doesn't really make sense, but because those terminals shouldn't be even close to, I don't know, that's strange. Sometimes, but sometimes I've had mags that do that depending on what I've grounded it to. Like if I've grounded it to something that's not really kosher, sometimes I'll get weird things happening. So I would check your ground, what you're grounding the mag to. If it's, I mean, I don't know if it's bolted on the tractor or not, but G's they really aren't that much more powerful than an A pound for pound. Like an A, if you go to, a lot of tractor pulls, there's a lot more John Deere A's that are pulling than G's because they can get into a lower weight class and get just as good a power on that you can out of a G. I personally like the early John Deere D's because even at a fast, you know, even at full RPM, when they're under load, I mean, they're just chugging. It barely. I think their max RPM is only like 825 or something. So when you start putting them under load, you're running, under 800 RPM at full load. That's really chugging, and I just think that's something so cool. Yeah, Craig. See, you're you're working same power, less weight, and better fuel economy on an A versus a G. I mean, I think an A is like what 320 some cubic inch. I can't remember what a G is, but yeah, those John Deere's, those two cylinders, they'll pull for days. But a lot of people they undersell cases too. The the case engines generally like an SC versus an H, Farmall H. An SC has a longer stroke, so they make a little bit better puller than an H does. But a DC is a much better puller than an SC because they weigh almost the same, but the DC's got 50% more power. It's kind of like the A versus the G. The A weighs a lot less and is somewhat close in power to the G. So the G is really underpowered for its weight. Yeah, you can put like you can do mods to a G and get a lot of horsepower out of them, but I think bang for the buck is what most people look at. And an A, I mean, they're out of the box just a few horsepower less than a G. So I think that's why people, and they weigh a lot less, so you can get them in a lot lower weight classes. Yeah, Justin, I've had that issue when I put them in a vise and test them like that. I don't know why, but my best advice would be to give Rudy a call. I've only done one YCOC and I just finished it last week. It was the first one I did. Is it a moisture issue, FBH? If your mag, you know what I mean? Maybe there's moisture in the cap. When it gets below 40 degrees, that moisture condenses and then, maybe you got some issues there. Yes, the D's are 501 cubic inch. Those are the later D's though. The earlier ones are a little bit smaller engine, but that was only the first couple or a few years because they were the 501 cubic inch. I think is the 6 3/4 inch bore, and I think the earlier ones were like 6.5 or something. Yeah, I know. People spend crazy amounts of money on these pulling tractors. G is 412 and A is 321. So there's almost 100 cubic inches of difference, but out of the box, the G wasn't that much more powerful as far as horsepower. You know, I mean, either way, you can't go wrong with either one as a puller. They got them big, long, heavy cranks and long strokes and big pistons. I mean, that's a lot of rotating mass, a huge flywheel. They just make great pullers. Hey, Chris, happy birthday or happy birthday, Merry Christmas, happy birthday, Jesus, I guess. I bet you I could pull 314s with my Case SC. I pulled that two bottom out at Connors for plow day. I pulled that in third gear, no problem, with the hills and everything. So I bet you I could pull a three bottom, but that's got an overbore kit with high compression pistons in it. All my tractors that I have now, they all have overbore with high compression pistons. So Rudy does do carburetor stuff. He does it on a very limited basis, and whenever he does have carburetors come, he has me do them. So I'm I'm his carburetor guy. Yeah, Moline had long strokes too. They make good pullers. Um, I have a friend in Wisconsin that has a oh gosh, I don't even know what it is. It might be a U model U that he's got as a puller, but he did some serious work to that thing. I mean, he stroked it, bored it, ground out inside the crankcase for the crankshaft to clear. He's got some serious money into it. Springs aren't returning the impulse arms for some reason. Sometimes on those, I've seen the the shaft and the holes on that impulse wear, and we've had to use shims on those before because they don't make. Well, I think Steiner just came out and said that they have new impulse cups now, but they're I don't know what they cost, but anyways, I'm not here to advertise. Although Steiner, they did help us out with some of the parts on the H, so I got to give them credit for that. And I've bought tons of parts from Steiner. They're a great company, but I don't. I gotta stick with my man Rudy when it comes to magnetos and carburetors. But I would say something is going on then with your impulse mechanism. It could be worn drive dogs. They get really floppy in there and they don't return and expand like they're supposed to sometimes when they get really worn. So I've never put any of my tractors in a pull, but I would do the H. I think I think that one would do really well. I would do the M, but I just need better rear tires. Do we have a carburetor on hand for a 50 John Deere? Is that a duplex carburetor or is that a single throat? I don't even know. Does it have two throats with two butterflies or is it just one? We'd need to know what model carburetor it is, like if it's a DLTX, 70 or Best bet would be to give Rudy a call. Larry, yeah, I bet you Rudy could set you up however you needed it. I'm going to tell you guys right now, Rudy, when it comes to magnetos, in my entire life, I cannot learn the knowledge that he has in just one finger when it comes to magnetos. I mean, he has told me so much stuff that I've tried to remember and I forget. And he he's been doing this his whole life. Yeah, I've used Gen Sales. I've bought some manuals from Gen Sales. They got great stuff. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about any parts is shipping. You know, it's ridiculous. They'll charge you the same amount of shipping to send you a seal this big versus an entire carburetor or something. You know, it's like I just don't understand it. But duplex, okay. I know he's got a few duplex carburetors sitting there, but I don't know what he's got. Like I said, man, best bet is to call him and see. I would definitely avoid emailing him or Facebook messaging him because he gets so many emails and Facebook messages he just can't keep up. So your best bet is to call him and leave a message if he doesn't answer, and if he doesn't call you back, you know, by the next day, I would call him again and leave another message just because it's just him. You know, he is a very busy guy, and I can't tell you, man. There'll be so many times I sit there working on a carburetor or a magneto for a few hours, and it's just constant on the phone with him. And it's hard for he's a good multitasker. I'll give him that, but you know, he's got to work on mags and answer the phone at the same time. So just be persistent and leave a message, and he'll call you. You know, but I tell that to everybody. Don't even play with email or messenger because phone is the best with Rudy. All right, Mike. See you later. Appreciate you hanging out, bud. I think uh, I think we'll go another 10 minutes or so, and my eyes are getting kind of heavy too. I've been up since 5:30. So hey, Craig, if you ever run out of uses, you can always send them over here and just say that Kenny needs to use them for his videos, and we'll just do rotation. We'll just you send me one, I'll work on it, send it back if I have the room. Yeah, hunting and stuff. I mean, he'll call you back if he misses your call. He'll call you back, and if he doesn't, just give him a call because sometimes it goes in spurts. Sometimes he'll get four, five, six magnetos done in a day, and other times he'll get one because he's so busy on the phone. Well, you want me to keep going with this? I'll keep going. You know, I'll stay till 9:30. If you want to hang out till 9:30, I'll stay till 9:30. Hey, Justin, that's great. Appreciate that. I'm glad it runs good. I've learned a lot from Rudy when it comes to carburetors, and I'll tell you, there's no better way to clean them. I don't care how long you soak them. There's no better way to clean them than to glass bead blast them, blow them out, and then drill out all the passages, and then blow them out again. Oh, somebody broke the stem off of it. Yeah, we don't. We can send carbs out. We don't do stem repair, but we have a guy that does stem repair on those carburetors. Yeah, I wish we lived closer too. Yeah, Chris. I mean, Rudy is the. I always tell people he's the best, but he's been a really great friend, a great mentor, and he's helped me so much. I can't even tell you guys how much he's helped me, but he's a great guy and he knows everything there is to know about magnetos. It never ceases to amaze me. He'll have a guy call for something just strange and oh yeah, I got it. Oh, actually, I got one on my shelf right here, and I mean something that the guy searched for years, and you know he's full of surprises. Do I ever get to the LeSueur Swap Show? I sure do. I sure do. Rudy's got a booth there every year. Have I had any more updates on the D that I sold? No, I haven't. He's working on that, and he's also working on a case Model C at the same time. So he's trying to juggle two things, and I know right now he's looking for a camshaft. So why do we use glass beads? Um, for one thing, if you've got something like aluminum, it's a lot less abrasive on the aluminum and brass. Like if we've got something like some magnetos have a really nice brass cover on them, like an early Splitdorf mag for a Spoker D John Deere. They have a really beautiful brass cover, and if you use glass bead, it doesn't it doesn't leave the pits as bad, and you can polish it super easy. So it's a really great product. I wouldn't even use glass bead on those really thin sheet brass pieces. I would use crushed walnut shells, but in the main cabinet, he's just got uh, glass bead because it's just so versatile and it's not as abrasive. So you can go. It might take you a little bit longer to do cast iron, but you don't have to constantly switch your blasting media out in the same cabinet for going from this project then to this project. It's just more efficient to use glass bead. It's more expensive, but it works great. I mean, you can literally blast a John Deere like a brass carburetor, and it looks like you just polished it up. It's great. Yeah, there's. I guess I'd have to see a picture of the carburetor. I can't. I don't know exactly. Is it just a single throat or does it? Oh, you said it's a duplex. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that'd be tough. I don't know. I'm sure that it's repairable. Most of the time I've seen it, they just cut it off flush, then they V it. So when they stick the threads on, they can just braze or weld that new one in, and I mean it looks like it was never modified at all. The guy we sent it to. Jeez. Sorry, I got too many windows open. Yeah, Craig, I know I could use your shop anytime. It's just, what is it, about 1,000 miles probably? Well, I'm definitely bored, but I'm bored for the wrong reasons. I got plenty of work. It's just, does Rudy do automobile mags? Absolutely. He'll do a mag for anything. You name it, he'll do it. We've done mags for vintage tanks. We've done mags for airplanes. We've done mags for, he does a lot of Harley Davidson mags. There's one actually, we did a magneto for a guy that's doing a documentary on a Harley Davidson that's like one of like three known to exist. And yeah, Rudy is actually getting a plug. Him in the shop is getting a plug in this documentary that's being filmed. So I don't know when it's coming out, but really cool motorcycle. Um, I'm not sure if having a new stem would be cheaper, but you're not going to get much for the core on it. So it's worth checking because carb with a broken stem, you got to put more money into it than what the casting itself is worth. Probably, the core is probably only worth $25 to $50. So you'll have probably more than, I don't know. It's worth checking. That's for sure. It's only a little over 700. Oh, that's not bad. I gotta sit back again. Oh, well, that's right. I was gonna. Who in the tractor talk has the oldest tractor? It's probably Larry. He was he was talking about he's got some early was it Minneapolis tractors and from the 20s, and he's got a Spoker D. So I don't know if anybody has anything older than 1920 something, 1924. Yeah, that'd be tough to beat. I mean, I've got a couple friends that have got steam engines and stuff. Shoot, my buddy's got a 65 horse case, and he lives as the crow flies a mile from here. So Sean Jacobson, he lives just a mile from me. Farthest traveled, your SC was bought in St. Cloud, which isn't far from me. Brought about 50 miles northwest. So that would be probably like Fergus Falls area. Now, probably be, shoot, that'd be right by where my grandparents were. They lived in Ashby, Minnesota. That's probably about 50 miles from St. Cloud, close to it. Alexandria area. You've probably got the most traveled right now. I mean, I went to Alabama and back to get the Cub for my friend of mine, and I put the video on here. But Larry says I just work there and take care of tractors. That's why I have no time. Yeah, it's a full time job just maintaining equipment. think the farthest I drove to get a tractor was probably a tractor for me, I should say. I drove up to, well, I got the M in Barnesville, and that's about 180, 190 miles one way. And then the Unstyled D, the 1928 D, that came from not far from Beaver's Tractor Salvage. So they're probably about the same. Hey, when you guys get done building a shop there, you can build one here. I think the shortest ride I have for a tractor was probably the H. The H came from only about 15 to 20 minutes from here. 20 minutes. Oh, nice. About the Super C that Jerry had. Must have been a nice, must have been a nice Super C. Yeah, that's true. You're never done when you're building a new shop because as soon as it's full, you got to build some more. Hello, Angel. Welcome. Or should I say Angel? Is it Angel or Angel? And we still got 30 people in here watching. Yeah, I bet. How old is your young one? Was he 3 or 4? I heard you or read. Thought I saw you say. Like I said, we had a 1950 Farmall C, and it was a great tractor. C's are really great tractors. Ugh. Geez, I just got messages coming in from every angle. My phone, my tractor talk. Yeah, this has been a great tractor talk. This is a lot of great questions, but it's probably because we haven't done one in 6, 7 months, 8 months. I would really love to get my daughter a cub, but this, for some reason up here, I don't know about where you're at, but they, cubs just, they go for a premium price around here. Down south, apparently they're everywhere, so that you can get a cub all day long for 500 to $1,000. But up here, shoot, there's guys asking $6,000 for a cub. Even if you pay three for a cub, you can get a good running Farmall M for $1,000 all day long. You heard Squatch sold the M on an auction for 4,500. You talking about his Super M that he just finished? I'm doing okay. I'm tired, but I'm used to it. I'm doing fine. Hey Dennis, you're welcome. I don't know if you're taking off, but if you are, thanks for stopping by and Merry Christmas. Yeah, I mean, if I could find a good deal on a Cub, I'd buy one. But right now, I mean, I'm not trying to spend any money at all, like, unless it's on my daughter. I don't think Squatch sold it. I don't know, but I can ask him. I mean, I have the ability to do that. I don't know. Maybe he did, but I really I would never think that he would have sold it when him and Senior put that much work into it. But I don't know. Maybe because I know that they're going to use the Kubota as their primary, snow removal tractor and everything else. But I'm pretty sure because he's talked to me quite a bit about it and, just about everything. And pretty sure he's going to be bringing it to shows because him and I have talked about having it next to the H and, doing plow days. And yeah, did Rick Bork start that rumor? Yeah, you're not. I mean, Craig, you'd know just as well as anybody. Any money you get into a tractor, most likely you're not going to get it back out. Like the H, I'm going to do a video like Squatch did, where he adds up all the costs. But I was already planning on doing that. He just finished his tractor first, and it's not a competition. It's just I was already planning on doing that, so everybody knew, what we spent on this restoration. But I'd have to guess. I bet you we got, if you count the value of the donated work for like the chrome and the tires and all that stuff, I bet you we got over $12,000 into that H. So, and we couldn't sell it. I mean, unless we did a charity auction where people basically were just giving money to the charity, I bet you we couldn't sell that H outright to just Joe Blow for more than $2,500 when it's done. Not around here because you can buy a running H for $500 to $700 in decent shape. So Rick said he sold it. Well, you know how him and Squatch go back and forth. So he might have just put a rumor out there just to rib him, joke around with him a little bit. Who knows? Yeah, I definitely hope we get more shows this coming year or next year, however you want to say it. Because this year was, I mean, I was hoping I'd get to see the 150 running and drove all the way out there and it was just rain. I mean, rain all day. The fields were so wet and everything is so flat it doesn't run off anywhere. It just sits there. But it is what it is. You can't control the weather. So Why are new tractor tires so expensive? I don't know. I mean, front tires you can get for 90 bucks or so for an H or an M for a pair. Rear tires, 1,000 bucks. It's like, I don't know, but yeah, he could probably get 4,500 at an auction. That's the thing. Just because it's a super nice restoration, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay. So if you put it in an auction and people are only willing to pay 4,500 bucks for an $8,000 restoration, not to mention the countless hours of you know labor, it is what it is. You'll never get your labor back. Yeah, Larry. I mean, the paint, that's another 1,000 bucks easy. And we didn't even buy top of the line base coat, clear coat paint. We use single stage. We use a really good paint, but I mean, a lot of guys just go to the local fleet supply and get a $25 gallon of red or whatever. And it works great for them. And it's a work tractor. And, they just want to make it look nice and keep it from rusting. But, you want to get any type of automotive paint, quality automotive paint, it's going to be 1,000 bucks just for paint and primer, and thinner and hardener and, all these little things, they add up. Shoot, I went to go get another. Did I get 1 or 2 quarts? I can't even remember, but 2 quarts was almost as expensive as a gallon, just because you're paying for an individual quart. Yeah, you can't do a. That's the thing. The term restoration is used very loosely because there's a lot of people that consider a restoration tearing it down to completely nothing, like we did with the H, replacing every worn bearing, every seal, every shaft, every gear, everything, make it like new. And then there's other people that think a restoration is pressure washing it, slapping some paint on it, and doing some plugs and wires in a carb kit, you know. So it's a very loose term, but I wish there was something to wish there was a term that meant completely new everything except the castings. And then, restoration is this type of rebuild or refresh. Let's see. Yeah, I know. That's another reason I like the patina, because you don't worry about scratching it. You don't worry about it being out in the sun and paint fading and all that. And it's only original once, but you can take it to a show, and I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, the guy that stops and looks at a brand new shiny paint job is also going to stop and look at that perfectly original tractor, and he's probably going to look at that one longer than he did the shiny paint job, because there's 100 of the same tractor with shiny paint job, but there's only 1 or 2 that are all original and perfect, perfectly preserved. A while back, I did a video where I went to look at a Case SC. Do I know what happened to it? Not a clue. It was the guy wanted way too much money for nothing special. It was a 1941, so first year production, but it wasn't a center exhaust. Um, none of the early features except for the cast rear wheels, but they were used on the RC for several years prior, so they weren't a rare rear wheel. And there was just nothing special about it, really. I mean, the motor was stuck. Who knows how long it was stuck? And I think he said he wanted like $700 for it. And you know, if I were to buy a tractor in that condition, I don't care what it is, unless it's something rare like a Spoker D. I'm not paying anything over scrap. So, I mean, if it's something that I'm really kind of wanting, then maybe I'll offer $50 to $100 over scrap price. But just a case SC like that, no, I'll give you scrap, you know, and then peace of mind that it's not going to be scrapped. I'm gonna fix it eventually. See, what I would love to do. You're welcome, Camden. Thanks for coming, bud. H Turbo, welcome. What was I gonna say? I said something about original tractors. I would love to do just a complete mechanical restoration. All new bearings, seals, pistons, rings, all that stuff, but then leave everything else alone. I think that would be great because then you'd have a really solid, um, ready to go tractor, but everything else would be original. And I think that would just be awesome. And I'm sure there's a lot of those out there. It's just I've never done one like that. So yeah, Larry, one of my friends, the guy I mentioned earlier, he's got a couple of the big case prairie tractors along with, Minneapolis and all kinds of other ones. But he's got a Happy Farmer, he's got a Spoker D, he's got a Waterloo Boy. I mean, he's got some really rare items, but he's got a few Hart Pars and oil pulls. Merry Christmas, bud. Take care. Hey, Brett, glad you've enjoyed it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to shut her down at 9:30 here. It's 9:19 right now, so I'm starting to feel it in my eyelids. Hey, Dennis, you take care, man. Thanks for coming out. Dave, you taking off too? See ya. Thanks for stopping by, man. Kent, thanks for coming. Yeah, I hope I'll be able to bring her to some shows. That'd be really cool. I'd love to get her on the back of a steam engine because ultimately I would really love to do like the Rolog steam school with her when she's a little bit older. Obviously, when she's 2 years old, it's not really feasible. But yeah, I'm glad you came by, man. Sorry, I'm reading hunting and stuff. So, my buddy that his name is Glenn. Glenn said that they should have never named it a happy farmer because anybody who had tried to start one or drive one was never happy. Do I have any resolutions for the new year? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, yes, but I hope what we're going through gets better. That's what I hope. Hope and pray. All of us, not just my family, but all of us. All this stuff that's going on is just sucks. Did I do anything to clean or seal the inside of the H? The engine block, I degreased and pressure washed. I used oven cleaner inside and out, and I used really long gun cleaning brushes, rifle cleaning brushes, to clean out the oil passages and stuff. The the rest of the castings were all sandblasted inside and out. The transmission, all that stuff, and then I used Gliptol on the inside to seal the castings. It's a really really heavy duty sealer, and it works great. One year need to rally here and build a shop. Hey, I'll barbecue burgers all day long if you guys want to come up here and build a shop. Yeah, that's right, Larry. Happy the day you got it, and happier the day it left. Yeah, I like the LSBs, but the problem is the thing I'm looking at is like a Cub. They have the live hydraulic touch control, and I'd love to get a snow blade for it because the loader works great, but it doesn't work well for plowing the driveway to the house because I can't back drag with it. So I have to shovel or snow blow the first 20 feet of the driveway just to back the tractor up to push the snow out of the driveway. So Darren wants to know if Rudy has the length of the John Deere A spark plug wires. Well, he has a John Deere A, both a styled and an unstyled, so he could just go measure them. I mean, he could probably make them easily for you. And he has the original style cloth woven spark plug wire too, if you want it. He's got normal like black rubber, but he's also got the original style. The H project is still at a standstill. We're just waiting on the tins to be done, and in order to do that, we have to have someplace warm to do it. So I don't think the problem is building a shop; it's paying for it. That's the problem. Oh, I just got a message from the guy that bought the D. He just picked up the new original magneto for it, which is a Edison split torque 246C. Very expensive magneto, but they're beautiful when they're restored. I don't know. What do you guys think? You want to keep going? We do this every time. Every time we have a tractor talk, we keep going. How much would a good shop cost? Well, it's man, it depends on all kinds of things. Hey Ryan, thanks for stopping by, man. Thanks for helping out as much as you did with the H as well. It's there's so many people in here that have helped and donated, and I never thought this would be as big as it is. It's amazed me. So thank you everybody for that, for everything that you guys have helped with. Hyatt too. Hyatt has helped a ton. So I don't even know how to put into words how big this has been for me. I can't, I'm just glad to see it's been as great for everybody as it's been for me. Hey, thanks, bud. Merry Christmas. Everybody say bye to FBH, and I don't know. I would say that a good starting point for a shop with concrete, I mean, this is without insulation or even electricity. You're probably talking 25 grand at least, you know, 20 for the building. I already called to check to see what just a building would cost, and most of the estimates were right around 20,000 for just a building. And then you got to add in concrete for the floor, and it's not cheap. And the price of lumber for it just keeps skyrocketing. So I remember you'd be able to buy a 2x4 for a wall stud for you know a dollar and a quarter, and now they're $3. Yeah, and you got to have heat. Yeah, it's that's 20 by 40. I priced out a 30 by 40, and just to have the building put up was 20,000 is what they quoted me. So it's not cheap, and concrete isn't cheap either. You want to do probably a little bit thicker because you're putting equipment in there. And I mean, if I were to ever get a steam engine, shoot, they're anywhere from 10, 20 tons, depending on what it is. So, but I can build out here. I can build up to a 30 by 60, but I think the biggest I would want to go is like 30 by 48 because I wouldn't have any yard left to drive tractors in if I went that big. If I did 30 by 60, but I definitely want the tallest door I can get. I think that the tallest sidewalls I can build out here are 14 foot, so that's probably the tallest door I could get is probably 12 foot. Yeah, less grass to mow, but I just planted a whole bunch of grass because we didn't have a very big backyard. We have a lot of, decent amount of property. It's just, you know, a third to a half of it is swamp, and there's no way I'm driving tractors back there. I got stuck good enough with the M. So let's see if I can find. I'm just gonna check in my computer and see if I can find the pictures. Oh, here we go. Bear with me. I'm not going to be able to read comments for a couple minutes. I got to see if I can take pictures of these steam engines so you guys can see them. I mean, I'll put them in a later video too, but these are such cool pictures, man. I'm taking pictures on my computer screen right now. And then I'll try and show them to you on the camera. with my phone. I wish I could. There was a way you guys could see my screen. I'm sure there's a way I can share it, but I don't. I'm not that smart. There's a lot of cool pictures though. I'll show them to you guys, or I'll try. But like I said, I'll put them in the next sorry, I'm looking at a steam engine. I'll put them in the next video so you guys can see them. But I'll try, see how well the camera picks it up here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's a Minneapolis steamer. That's tough to see, but the steam engine built it up to a threat thing. Another view. Bunch of threshers and separators and everything. Now this one here is that's Farmall H on steel, and that's Unstyled B on steel. The H has rear steel. Another photo of the Minneapolis. Or maybe if I hold it closer, you guys. Now I'll go back so you guys can get a better view. So there's the Minneapolis steamer. There's the sawmill crew or the threshing crew belted up or behind the Minneapolis steam engine. That's the Minneapolis belted up. That's the rear of the Minneapolis. There you go. That's quite the setup. There's the Minneapolis again. You can see the Farmall H, and my uncle was just telling me today that they put rubber on it eventually. So this was after they put rubber on it. There's the Avery undermount that they had. It's another rare one. And that's an Oliver. That's an early Oliver. Here's another. Let's see, where's my finger? That's the Minneapolis steel. And here, I don't know if this is an 80 horse or a 65. I think it's an 80, but that's a case. So, yeah. I don't know, Nick, you might know more. You're more steam savvy than I am, but I'm pretty sure that's a 65 or I'm sorry, an 80 horse case. I got to catch up. Hey, Darren, glad you liked the wiring video. Happy to hear that it helped you, man. These pictures are probably from, I would say, the 40s, the 30s and the 40s. Mostly the 40s. Jack, I wouldn't worry about chopping up an H. They made 400,000 of them, so for the couple or few hundred that are probably cut up and made into pulling tractors, I don't think anybody's really going to miss them. You know, there's people that have a dozen H's, and they use them every day. Some I've heard of guys that have an H on every implement they own, darn near, because they just don't want to unhook them. So they just buy another H and hook it up to the next thing, and that way they've always got a tractor hooked to whatever implement they need. They never have to mess around. Craig, I'm glad you stuck around, and I was glad to see you. And let's keep in touch. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, the whole 9 yards. Yes, Hyatt, you do have to be certified to operate steam engines. And I think in Minnesota, I think it's 50 hours, if I remember right, of run time before you can get your license. So you basically have to do like a 50-hour apprenticeship before you can get take your test and be licensed. So, but I think 9:45, guys. I think I'm done. Another 6 minutes or so. Well, they in Pennsylvania, you don't have to be certified. Well, you should have to be. I mean, it's serious business running steam engines, especially vintage steam engines. Nowadays stuff is all computer controlled, so all the steam type power and everything like that. I'm doing all right. It's just I'm starting to get a little heavy, that's all. Plus I got to get up early again. I got to be up with my daughter to get ready for the day, so I usually get up half hour before her and take my shower and then get her up. So yeah, Nick, no kidding, right? I mean, I know the simple principles of steam. Make fire, boil water, create steam, create power, and the number one rule is where's your water. But I mean, I don't know how the steam injectors work and when to use them, and I don't know none of that. So how many horse does a Cub have? Oh, geez, like 9 or 10, I think. Not much. If you buy one and haul one, you know what you're doing. I don't know. I've seen some sketchy trailers out there, you know. Have I got to use the M yet for snow plowing this year? Nope. We haven't had any snow, man. We had, like I was saying earlier, we got more snow the month of October than we've had all of November and December combined. I think we had a storm that brought about 7 inches in October, and then a couple days later, we got like another 2 or 3 inches. Some of northern Minnesota in that storm, some places got like 20 inches of snow in October. That's crazy. Yeah, Cubs are glorified lawnmowers, but you know what? If I was to skip over getting a Cub for my daughter and choose something else, I would get like a Super A because they're roughly the same size as a Cub, but they're twice the tractor at least. Some close to 3 times the tractor as far as power goes. Plus, they got the touch control and all the kind of modern features. Yeah, I know the Northeast, they got walloped. They got some areas got over 40 inches of snow. But I wish we got snow like that. I'd love to, not every snowfall, but maybe once a year, just get a good 3 feet. Yeah, I liked the little, like a Cub or a Super A, just because for plowing my driveway to the house, it's really a C. They're roughly the same size as an H, and that's just it's too much tractor to do just this driveway. I mean, if I had a 3 point on it with a back blade, that'd be a different story. But for what you spend on a 3 point for an H, you're better off just buying a whole tractor with one already on it. I think like a Saginaw 3 point is like $900. Then you got to buy the back blade. Yeah, Cub, shoot, most of the parts for the Farm All H I lifted by hand. We got the replacement rear case, the rear end casing. I lifted that out of the truck by hand, and that's got to be, just me, and that's got to be at least 300 pounds, easy. So the engine block, I've lifted that by hand many times. There's nothing on that tractor I didn't lift by hand. I have an engine hoist, but sometimes I just didn't want to dig it out. I'm not smart. It's a good way to injure your back lifting all that stuff by hand, but I should put a 3 point on my A. Are you talking about my John Deere A? Farm all over? Hey Jeff, thanks for stopping by, bud. I don't have my John Deere A anymore. Farm all over. I sold it. I sold 4 tractors this summer. And we got people just chiming in, and I was just about to chime out. Tom, how are you doing? Welcome. We have the Farm All M, the Farm All H, and the Case SC. So we sold the Farm All F20, we sold the Minneapolis CTU, we sold the John Deere A, and we sold the John Deere D. I'm ready for the snow, man. I couldn't be more excited. Hope we get 3 feet, but we'll be lucky if we get anything, to tell you the truth. Case SC, I love it. They're a great tractor. You'll never find an easier hand clutch than on a Case SC, I'll tell you that. I could use literally the tips of my 2 fingers. Yeah, it's been a rough year. Couldn't even, rough is an understatement. What tractor am I planning on tinkering with after the H? To be honest, um, as much as it sucks, I want to tear the SC back down. When I restored it the first time, I was still young, still learning, and there were things now that I learned doing the H that I need to do to the case. Um, One of those things, I got to tear the back end apart on the case because I never even tore into it. I was scared to, and it needs bearings, and I'm sure second gear needs to be replaced because it pops out of second when I go down a hill. So not all the time, but sometimes. So I'm sure that's worn from people trying to grind it, you know. But I don't know when I'll get into the case. But I definitely want to tear that back apart. And I got new old stock rod bearings for it, which I couldn't find when I was rebuilding it the first time. And main bearings I want to have relined, and I just want to go through everything right. And knowing what I know now, back before, because I was 19 years old when I tore that apart. And I had way less mechanical background then than I have now. So, yep, you can adjust the clutch on the SC. You adjust it through there's 2 hand holes on the side of the clutch housing. You take there's sheet metal hand hole covers off, and you can adjust the clutch through the side of the clutch housing. I've never done it because I never had to, but yeah, you can. But I'm telling you guys, at 10 o'clock, I'm shutting it down. So 9 more minutes, and I'm gonna be signing off. That's it. Done. That'll be 2.5 hours. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I know. Every time we do one of these tractor talks, we extend it at least 2 times. Yeah, the SC has a hand clutch. Yep. Early, well, let's see. The SC's up until, oh gosh, I want to say 50, 52. Clutch was on the right. Then they switched to a left-hand clutch. And then 1954 was the only year they had a foot clutch. So they also had live hydraulics and live PTO. Excuse me. All right, Tom. Cool. Thanks for stopping on over. Yeah, it is an over center clutch, but it's not the over center on an SC clutch isn't as prominent as like on a John Deere. You know, John Deere's you really got to snap them forward. An SC and a DC clutch, it's you can tell it over center, you know, snaps in, but it's very light compared to a John Deere. Well, I would think like a Chevy 305, you're operating off the same principles. You know, it's got a sump type oil system, so it's just an oil pump, um, cam, rods, pistons, crankshaft, and it should be timing chain, I think. So your crank and cam gear will come off together with the chain, and then you can pull your cam out. Push rods, same thing. You know, same principle. If it's a vintage motor, yeah, I don't see why it would be more work, but it's just twice the amount of pistons. That's all. Yeah, the like I said, the case clutches, they're an oil bath clutch too. And one of the old sayings is you'll never wear out a case clutch because of the oil bath system that they run in. But did I do a video restoration of my SC when I was 19? No. I did videos of it after we were done, but no, I didn't do anything. I do have video of the first time I had it running back in about the year 2000. But that's all stuff that I'm keeping for a special video on the case that I'm working on. Oh man. Hey Billy, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm only going to be on for a few more minutes, but yeah, the John Deere's it's definitely a lot more difficult to slip the clutch, but this case, I'm telling you, I could use these 2 fingers and back right up to a trailer. That clutch is so smooth. I don't know, maybe it might have something to do with the type of clutch plates they use. Maybe, I don't know. Or I should say the discs, that are riveted to the facings that are riveted to the disc. Maybe it's something that, you use with oil and it gets stickier. I don't know. But that clutch is so nice, man. I'm telling you. My daughter will be driving that thing no time. I mean, when I take her for rides, she's already steering, so it's just a matter of teaching her the rest of the stuff, and she's not even 2, so she definitely takes after her dad. But I don't understand the concept of the oil bath clutch either, because I would think the same logic. You get oil in your clutch, and you're going to have problems, but not the case for them. And they work beautifully. They're a very, very heavy built tractor, and they work really well. Cases are very understated, I should say. But it depends on, dealer saturation. If there's not a lot in your area, just like anything else, Minneapolis Moline or Oliver. Put it in a Jersey barrier wall, yeah. I think for me it helps, that I had so many different types of tractors, foot clutch and hand clutch, and even, different throttle locations and all kinds of different stuff. I think it keeps your mind fresh because you have to remember constantly which tractor you're driving. So, oh yeah, trust me, I haven't had, I've made some mistakes as well. I put a Montgomery Ward lawn tractor almost clear through a garage door, and my grandpa was not happy. But I was only like maybe 5 years old. Thought it was in reverse and it was in drive. So, oops. Can you service an oil pump by just taking the oil pan off? Well, if you're taking the oil pan off, you might as well pull the pump because it's just 2 bolts and it'll drop right out of the engine block. I mean, that way you're not laying down on the ground. You can pull the pump out and work on it on the workbench. And my guess is if you've got a knock in it, it's probably a worn oil pump shaft, just like Squatch had in his Super M. What's the lowest ideal temperature for painting tin on an H? Oh, probably in the 60s. You know, they make um, different hardeners for different temperatures and stuff, but the dry rate of them is slower or faster depending on what the temperature is. So we got a little ways to go before we get to 60 degrees. We got probably at least 3 to 4 months before we see 60 plus. But it's 10 o'clock, fellas. Everybody can say their Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and all that. And I'm gonna hit the hay shortly here. So thanks for coming, guys, and thanks for always supporting the channel. And I know it's been a quiet 6 months, but we've had a lot going on here, and it's been rough. But hey, Squatch, everybody say hi to Squatch. I was just about to say bye, but now I got to say hi to Squatch because Squatch deserves to be said hello to. So everybody say hi to Squatch, and hey, maybe you can clear up the rumor quick. There's a rumor saying that you sold the Super M for $4,500 in auction, and I am willing to bet that that is not true. If he can hear me, I don't know if he's here or not anymore. Maybe he left. I don't know. I can't see who's still here and who's gone. So maybe he left. Oh, moved it to another shed today. Oh, maybe somebody, I don't know. Whatever. You know how rumors start. But well, if anybody has quick questions for Squatch, ask now because I'm about to I'm about to call her quits. Yeah, I know, man. I would have been shocked if you sold it for that, but I knew you weren't going to sell it, so I knew that was a rumor, anyways. Too much labor and love went into that thing between you and your dad, and ain't no way that was going to go anywhere, not anytime soon. All right, I think everybody's signing off. So we're 5 minutes long now. 5 minutes into the third extension, but I'm going to take off. I want everybody to have a great Christmas and safe. Stay safe. I know in Minnesota we got some winter storm coming tomorrow, so everybody drive safe if you're from the area and take care of each other. You know, and I appreciate all the support and everything, not only through the Farm All H build, but just everything. You guys are amazing, and it's been a great ride making friends with everybody. You know, so let's keep it going. Hopefully, we can do another tractor talk in January. So take care and Merry Christmas, everybody. End button. Where's the end button? Hit the big red button. See you later, guys.